We just got what could be the most exciting trailer for Marvel Tōkon since the game got announced last year, because Magneto, Green Goblin, and Carnage are making it into the base roster with the Knights of Doom theme. And it was absolutely fantastic, one of the best trailers this game has ever gotten. But we still have one team that has not been revealed yet that we're going to be discussing in this video. We're going to try to predict once again what's going to happen exactly with this team, but more actually try to discuss what are the picks that could have a slot alongside Ghost Rider in Marvel Tōkon. So like and subscribe if you want to see more content for Tōkon in your feed, or also you just want to support the channel. I appreciate it a ton. You're gonna keep getting Marvel Tōkon videos from me for sure. And now let's get into it. Okay, so let's start the video by discussing a couple of ideas that are going around online about the Ghost Rider team and the last reveal for Tōkon. Number one is that many people are saying actually that the presence of Magneto and the Wakanda stage because of Black Panther in the Avengers trailer actually confirms the leak that we got from a retail store a while ago that had Magneto on it, but also Scarlet Witch, okay? And people are saying this means that Scarlet Witch is 100% gonna make it. She's on the game. The leak is real. And I have to say, do not take this position like so lightly, because at the end of the day, everything that has gotten confirmed from the quote-unquote leak into the game is something incredibly popular that could very easily make it into any Marvel video game, and of course also a fighting game. Like for example, Magneto is one of the most popular Marvel characters ever. The Wakanda stage, or setting is also extremely popular, just like Black Panther. So those characters are not a surprise. It's not like they couldn't make it if they were not on the leak or something like that. So do not take the leak as 100% real. It is not necessarily the case at all. All the additions to the game that were on the leak are so popular, so big, that they could make it into any video game that is based on Marvel anyway. And the other thing that is very interesting is that the leak also has a Hellfire Gala stage. But then if you look into the background of the last trailer, the Knights of Doom trailer, that has a new New York stage version that is at night, there is actually a Hellfire Club, which is a little bit suspicious to say the least if you're gonna have another stage that is the Hellfire Gala. So it is a weird situation, and I would not take the position that the leak is now 100% real, because Magneto alongside Wakanda are on the game. Even though they are related and connected, it doesn't necessarily mean that the leak is going to be 100% real and precise. Then the other thing we need to talk about is the use of hints to actually predict the next reveal or the Ghost Rider team, because in the case of the Knights of Doom trailer, like the hints were right there, at least for both Carnage and the Green Goblin, and a lot of people got the Carnage, kind of like hint because of the numbers from the comics and all of that, but the Green Goblin kind of like passed, through that, and a lot of people didn't think that we would get two Spider-Man villains on the same team, but it actually happened. And when you think about it, by the end of that, green screen with a lot of hints, the Green Goblin could be related to a lot of the stuff that is happening on the screen. So we need to think the same way for the Ghost Rider team, because if we go back to the Spider-Man reveal and the full team, by the end of the trailer, there is hints that we have not used for any of the reveals for the game yet. So that means that all the stuff that is right here on the screen could be a hint for the characters that are gonna make it alongside Ghost Rider. Okay, so let's talk about the hints very quickly. The first one is the stick with the marshmallow getting roasted, right? And a lot of people have said, oh, that means Deadpool. Deadpool is gonna make it into the game. But then there's a duck on the left, also within kind of like the Ghost Rider board or frame. And the reason why this is so important, especially after we got Carnage, is because the first comic in which Gwenpool makes an appearance is on a Howard the Duck comic, okay? So I think that what the developers are doing right here is that the stick and the marshmallow is essentially kind of like a hint for Deadpool characters, and then on top of that, the duck being on Ghost Rider's hand is the connection to the first appearance of Gwenpool as a character, just like we got the info for Carnage in the trailer and the hints that were also connected to his first appearance in the comics. So I think that very, very easily Gwenpool could make it into Ghost Rider's team, and these hints now make much more sense when you compare it to how they actually hinted at Carnage making it into the game. Then we have the second hint in the frame, which is a wand with a star on top, and that is very obviously kind of like a connection with a magic user. So it could be Wanda, right? Scarlet Witch making it into the game. We have talked about that so many times already. It could also be somebody like Doctor Strange, extremely popular character that could be still connected to actually the stage from the leak, because in the leak there is also a stage for the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is a classic Doctor Strange setting. So could be that. And then it could also, I guess, be Nico Minoru. Like, she could make it into the game. A lot of people talking about that character online, and she would be another kind of like weirdo or obscure pick that could make it into the roster, especially after the Knights of Doom team didn't have a female and didn't really have a super obscure character. So I would maybe say that those three picks are related to the hint. Now, who could it be exactly? I don't know. It could be Scarlet Witch, it could be Doctor Strange, and it could be somebody like Nico Minoru. And then we have the last piece of information, which is at the bottom of the trailer, and that is a red circle with a red star. And this is a character that, to me, a lot of people have been like putting to the side, thinking that he's not gonna make it into the game. But what if this is actually a hint for Winter Soldier or Bucky making it into the game alongside Ghost Rider? He's very easily an outlaw character or an anti-hero. He can be considered that depending on the storyline, but he has been that type of character many times. And on top of that, I do not think that this is related to Captain America. Like, Cap has very clearly his own kind of like colorful stars on top of him in that frame of the trailer. And by this point, I'm kind of like actually thinking with how Carnage, and Green Goblin could very easily be related to the hints for the Knights of Doom case and the team. Then why could these, the red star or red circle not also be considered a hint, and maybe is Bucky or the Winter Soldier making it into the game? And then that would give you essentially Ghost Rider, Gwenpool, a magic user that could be Wanda, right, Doctor Strange, or someone like Nico Minoru, and then also Winter Soldier or Bucky. That's a pretty freaking good team, but it does leave some characters out that we're going to discuss now that a lot of people want to see in the game. But one important clarification before we move on into discuss those extra characters, and that is that Marvel Tōkon doesn't have a single grappler yet. And I don't know when it was the last time that Arc System Works released a fighting game that didn't have even one grappler at launch. Like, I think that the chances of getting a grappler in Tōkon are very high. It would be kind of weird to not have that archetype that is so legendary within the genre, and also the Arc System Works likes a lot. Like, a lot of their grapplers are very iconic. So it would be kind of weird to not consider that archetype within the roster of Tōkon at launch. But the thing is, who would make it as a grappler within Ghost Rider's team? Now let's talk about those extra characters that are not related to the hints that could make it into the game just very quickly, and also consider the fact that we don't have a grappler in the game. I have, a list of characters that I've seen online and that a lot of people are talking about them. So the first one is Venom. Do I think that Venom is gonna make it into the game? No, because Carnage is already in it. We already have a symbiote character. Even if Venom is more of an anti-hero and he could be with Ghost Rider, since that is gonna be the theme of that team, I don't think that ArcSys is going to prioritize adding another symbiote into the game, especially when you consider that every single character on the roster is very different from each other. Like, they are very clearly trying to push the usage of the 20 character based roster with the most diversity that they can in terms of playstyle. So seeing another symbiote is probably not gonna happen. Now, if Venom actually makes it into the game and he is with Ghost Rider, he's gonna be the grappler. I think that if Venom has any chance of being in the game, he's going to be kind of like the Potemkin of the game, instead of being the classic, Venom that we see on a game like Marvel vs. Capcom in terms of gameplay. Then I have three characters that, in my opinion, could very easily make it into the game. They are very popular, and it feels like everyone is pushing for them to make it into Tōkon alongside Ghost Rider, but I do think that only one of them is gonna make it if it actually happens. And these are Blade, Daredevil, and Moon Knight. I think that these characters just make a lot of sense for the game, and if they're not present on the hints, it doesn't matter. Like, they could still make it, into the roster. Magneto, for example, was not on the hints unless you consider the wand of the other trailer that was not, with the Carnage and Green Goblin hints actually in some way or form a like Magneto hint from a different video or something like that. I don't know, but you can say that Magneto didn't have any hints and he still made it. So I do believe that the case of Blade, Moon Knight or Daredevil could have a slot in the game. I do hope that it's Blade. I think that Blade deserves to make it into a fighting game the most, but the thing is, if Gwenpool is going to be a part of the roster, then there is kind of like overlap in terms of gameplay and how you can design the characters and how they fight. So maybe in that situation, Moon Knight or Daredevil taking the slot would be better. And to be honest, I would be happy with any of the three. They're insanely cool characters. So if any of these three characters are a part of the roster with Ghost Rider and his team, I'm super happy, and I know that a lot of people would be happy. So hopefully one of these three, gets a slot in the game. Then I have two picks that actually I would like to connect to the idea of getting a grappler in the game, and those are Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night. And the reason why I'm considering them maybe as a part of the team is because number one, they could be the obscure or like weirdo picks in the Ghost Rider team, especially after we didn't get a single like obscure character with the Doom, villain team. And then on top of that, these two characters can very easily make it as a grappler. Different styles of grapplers though, like Man-Thing could be the Zangief or like the Potemkin of the game, the big body heavy grappler that is mostly an unmobile character, that is super slow, but it is really good up close and is just the big body grappler. And then Werewolf by Night could be more similar to someone like Alex on Street Fighter, right? Like a character that has a lot of mobility and it is actually very fast and super cool to play, but at the same time, it is indeed a command grab character when he's up close, and that is his main source of mix-up. So I think that both Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night have a chance of making it into the game as the grappler of the roster. And then I have the two last picks on my list, but I do gotta say the chances of them making it are a bit slower. The first one is Punisher, mostly because he makes sense like thematically for Ghost Rider, the anti-hero outlaw team. Also, we don't have like a full-on gun zoner, and Arc System Works loves their gun characters. Star-Lord uses guns, I know, but he's more of a trap-based character or like mix-up Oki heavy usage of guns, is not really a zoner. So maybe Punisher could be the zoner that uses the guns, right? But the chances are a bit lower, I would say, than most of the other picks, especially the ones that are related to the actual hints of the trailers. And then the other one that I have is Luke Cage. And the reason why I'm adding Luke Cage as a last-minute possibility is because of the lack of a grappler. Like, Luke Cage is pretty much an outlaw or an anti-hero character. You can put him in that category one way or another, but more outlaw than actual anti-hero. And then he is a brawler, like a big body, super strength-based character that could very easily be a grappler. So that's why maybe I would add Luke Cage into the list of characters that could make it into the game with Ghost Rider. So those were the characters that I was thinking about that maybe could make it with Ghost Rider into the game. Also, some of those picks have been discussed online and things like that, but by this point I gotta say that I feel like the team is just gonna be related to the hints in the Spider-Man trailer. Like, the presence of Carnage and the Green Goblin into the game with Doom is just so connected to all the hints that we got from trailers that I do believe they are doing it on purpose, right? Like, they are trying to give us hints of who's gonna make it into the game. And the hints from the Spider-Man trailer that we discussed at the start of the video have not really been connected to any reveal. So I do believe that it's just gonna be like Gwenpool, a magic user, and maybe Winter Soldier, or that, a specific hint could be like misleading and that slot could be given to the more like popular requested characters that we have seen online, like Blade, Daredevil, and things like that, because they just make sense for a fighting game, and ArcSys would probably consider a character like that into the roster. So that would be the way that I'm thinking about the last reveal of the game. When it comes to when the reveal could happen, since we just got the Doom trailer, I don't think that Tōkon is gonna get another like reveal team on Summer's Games Fest. Maybe it's gonna get like a story mode trailer or a game mode exhibition with a video, but it's not actually going to get like another reveal right away. I think that they're gonna save it for later this month or even July, so that it's closer to the release of the game. But there is still a small chance that, at Summer's Games Fest, we're gonna get the next team right away, because it is the biggest gaming event of the year in this specific date, like mid-year timing. So there is a chance still. And then you could have it, at Evo Vegas or something like that, or another event closer to the release date. So let me know which characters you would like to see with Ghost Rider on his team. It is the last team that we're gonna get before launch, unless they actually reveal the DLC as well. So let me know your picks. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to support the channel or want to see more Marvel Tōkon content. Thank you, and see you on the next one. Take care.